Alright, it's just Link and this fire-breathing dragon. I don't know, he looks kinda tough. I'm not sure if I could... Wait, really? That's it? Okay, let me get this out of the way. Majora's Mask is my favorite game of all time. So with the new release of Majora's Mask 3D, I thought, why not make a video of the one that started it all? This game does have everything after all, from side quests, temples, explosions, and dancing dead people for whatever reason. This game had it all. But one of the most memorable things in this game, in my opinion, were the bosses. From the ones lurking behind the boss door, to the lame ones guarding 5 rupees. These bosses have always stuck with me. So without any further ado, this is my top 10 Majora's Mask bosses. Oh look, it's everyone's favorite temple. The Water Temple! Or the Great Bay Temple. Besides this being one of the most obnoxious temples in the game, it was also home to one of the most complex bosses in the game in my opinion. And of course, we're talking about the one and only Gyorg. Guy.org? Whatever, that thing. Anyway, Gyorg the Gargantuan masked fish is by far the most complex boss in the game. First, you have to stun Gyorg from far away using arrows, then quickly put on the Zora mask, quickly get in the water, stun him with your blue magical powers, and then run away like you're not the hero in the story. Or else he'll eat the hell out of you. Oh, and let's not forget that when he vomits his babies, it only makes the already hard boss even more harder. But you know, once he starts flopping around and turns into a mask, it all seems worth it in the end. Now, believe it or not, Gyorg is actually in another Zelda game. That game being The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. But instead of just being a lousy fish wearing a mask, he's now a regular shark. So actually, he downgraded in size, but he's a shark now. So what is this, like an upgrade or a downgrade? Well, who am I to say? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Next! Stone Tower's full of so many crazy things. I mean, when was the last time you got to play a temple that had to be reversed in order to pass? 2 words. Pure genius. Anyway, let's not lie. The Ikana Canyon portion of the game in general is most likely longer than Snowhead and Woodfall combined. There's just way too much to do. It's amazing that it fits in this tiny thing. Anyway, back to Stone Tower. I think we all know that this temple has like, what, 4 mini-bosses? Which is honestly why this video is even possible. So at number 9, we have the boss that almost nobody remembers for whatever reason. And I have no idea why, since he's obviously the best boss ever. But at number 9, we have Batman. Literally, he's like covered in bat cologne. I didn't even know that was a thing. But really, this boss is never mentioned by anyone, ever. Why, you ask? Well, the hell do I know? I guess people aren't into Jeepers Creepers Zelda Edition, I guess. Either way, I like this boss a lot. I find it very creative how he has a bat shield, and his only weakness is the light arrows, in which the bats scatter around the room to expose his weak spot. Which, by the way, irritates him so much that he has to spin his weapon like it's an advertising billboard. Again, pure genius. Woodfall Temple is one of my favorite temples. I mean, who doesn't like using Deku Link the whole temple? Gotta love it. The Woodfall Temple is pretty straightforward, especially since it's the first temple in the game. But for the first temple, it really had a lot of memorable enemies, like the Skulltulas, Deku Babas, and those scary eyeball lily pad things that are basically the scariest things ever. I mean, what kid wasn't curious enough to see what happens when Link stands on the lily pad? Only to get eaten alive and get thrown in a bunch of poisonous water? Anyway, the boss in this temple, as most of you watching this video remember, is Awadawa. Sure, he looks scary at first, but come on. Once you see him do the Harlem Shake, I mean, you know he's pretty dope. This boss is quite interesting in a sense, since there's more than one way to defeat him. But really, as long as you stun him and attack, then you basically defeated the boss. Enough said. Well, well. Back to Stone Tower, I see. This time talking about the real boss. Twin Mold. Now remember, once the fight starts, you don't get just one annoying worm. You get a second one, just as annoying. Free! Just pay separate shipping and handling. Now these two bosses are very difficult. And it really doesn't help that they're in the middle of a dust storm. Bury all over the place. And come out whenever the hell they feel like it. This is also the only boss that has a mask specifically designed for the boss fight. The Giant's Mask! Is it me, or is getting the mask just flat out boring? I mean, you literally just pull it out of a treasure. It's almost just there. What gives? What's going on? Shouldn't there be like a whole puzzle I should be solving or something? Whatever. Either way, I really enjoy using the Giant's Mask in this fight. But, like always, fun never lasts when you want it to, since it drains your magic while you're using it. But still, the boss fight is quite a challenging one. And man, is it good to see that worm explode. Makes me feel so accomplished. Can't wait to leave now. Oh, damn it! I forgot about the other worm. Do you ever wonder if Link is being stared at? I mean, he does walk around in a tunic all the time. Now he's the true boss. Look at this lady. She is clearly aware that she is in the presence of Link. She's just giving him shade. But who else stares at Link in the silence? I don't know. What about this creeper? Jeez, giving Link the stink eye. Now he has balls. You see what I mean? Although this boss has a huge process just to defeat it, I find this boss to be quite fun actually. The phases are pretty interesting. And the concept of an eye being protected by a bunch of bubbles is pure genius in my opinion. Because that would hurt. Now this boss starts to get really hard when it starts charging at random walls. It's almost like an Indiana Jones scene that goes like 3 times faster. Oh yeah, and if this is your first time fighting this mini-boss, make sure you bring some fairies, because I guarantee it, the Bubble Gang will jump the hell out of you. Just be prepared to lose a ton of health. Because, you know, this fight is an eye for an eye. Ha ha ha. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Frogs have been in video games since early development. I mean, just look at Frogger. Simply beautiful. Interestingly, the frogs play a semi-major part in the storyline. Long story short, you feed a hungry Goron, get a mask, save a couple frogs, and sing a song. All for a heart piece. But it's not all entirely simple. Especially since 2 of these frogs are mini-bosses. Wait, really? Frog bosses? Yup, you heard right. 2 of these frogs were apparently possessed, and learned how to ride turtles and throw heavy bubbles. Wow, the Skull Kid must really have nothing to do to be creating frog demons. Now these mini-bosses are probably one of my favorites. Mostly because of the way that they don't look so important at first, until later in the game. These frogs are also some dangerous people. I mean, look at this one. Crawling up on the walls like a spider or something. Frogs don't do that. That's just weird. Who am I kidding? It's a Link game. Of course there's gonna be weird enemies. Party with the frogs! The mountains portion of the game is well known for many things. It had it all. Wolves, ice, snow, Gorons, meat, ghosts, tingle, walls, an invisible ice-breathing humongous Goron, and tech-type jump scares. Ever wonder what it looks like when Fox eats you alive in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 at a different angle? Well, there it is. The mountains are also home to one of the most pain-in-the-butt temples, the Snowhead Temple. And Snowhead Temple is also home to probably one of the bestest bosses ever created in the history of video games, Goat. So what does Goat do exactly? Well, everything a goat can. Because that's literally all it is. It's a goat wearing a mask. Don't get me wrong though, this boss is a pretty tough one. Especially when it rains rocks and bombs. The boss fight on its own has a quite unique concept as well. The boss area is basically a big trek. And the traditional way to kill this boss is to use the Goron mask to take him down and get more attacks. Although it seems pretty easy, it is still an extremely fun boss fight. But enough about the boss fight. Let's talk about these decorations. Why are they here? Who did this? Hey Goat, what you know about interior decorating though? Looks more like you're throwing a party than trying to fight. Maybe Link just got the wrong idea. Hey, we need more dipping sauce with these Tostitos. He even runs into walls to entertain the guests. Beautiful. Garos are everywhere. Garo here, Garo there. Garos everywhere. So what exactly is a Garo? Well, a Garo is basically a ghost in a dress. More specifically, a ninja ghost. A Garo in the game is a race, just like Deku's, Goron's, and Zora's. Based on Pamela's half-mummy father who studied this stuff, the Garos were killed, way before the Skull Kid was even around, and are now Garo robes, also known as ghosts. Also, Tata will always let you know when there's a Garo around, when she senses blood. It's either that or her nosebleeds are kicking in. So what do Garos have anything to do with this video? Well, in Stone Tower, there is a sensei of all Garos, the Garo Master. Now this mini-boss is a swift one. He's like a Dark Link version of a Garo. Wait, but that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, the Garo Master has blades in each hand with fire. So you know what that means. Zora and Deku, instant kill. Oh, the horror. In all honesty, this fight is pretty hard. It doesn't help that he teleports all over the place, and he attacks all the time. By the way, I always find it hilarious that when he manages not to hit you, he's always like, "Where'd he go?" Clearly the master of all Garos. When you finally defeat him, he talks and vanishes into thin air. But if you fight him later on in the game, either in the secret shrine or the moon, then you have control of Link, which means that he uses it to his advantage and Bombermans you, just to get one last attack. Wait, I thought ninjas weren't allowed to use weapons other than swords and nunchucks. Meh, oh well. It's the ancient castle of Ikana. Oh, now you know it's getting good once there's some extremely dramatic music once you walk in. This temple's full of crazy stuff. And it all comes down to the fight with Ego's Du Ikana and his two servants. Now this is a true mini-boss. This is by far one of the most difficult fights in the game. First off, you have to fight these weird guys, which is insanely difficult since they shield every attack you make. Then, after you defeat these two guys, then you can fight Mr. I'll sit down and watch my servants get beaten up guy. Then, after more swordplay, you have to shine some light on him. Once he is defeated, then you learn the Song of Elegy of Emptiness. So you may or may not be asking yourself, why is this mini-boss so high on the list? Well, this is mostly because of everything that can happen during the fight. First off, if you wear the captain's hat, then you trigger a cutscene where he actually gets fooled for a second that you're the almighty shot. Sleepyhead over there. Make it happen. But then realizes that Link is too tiny to be Captain Kita, literally ignoring all the human traits like, I don't know, meat on his bones? Now during the fight, if you wear the Bremen mask, you can actually make these guys march around. Best Easter egg ever. 10 out of 10. And then after all the fighting ends, you're introduced to probably the funniest skeleton scene you will ever witness. Because all that basically happens is two flying skulls call themselves a feeble, lacking physical strength, especially as a result of age or illness. Well, this is it. And the best boss fight in Majora's Mask is Majora's Mask. I think it's obvious that the final boss definitely takes the cake on this one. I mean, come on. The boss has 3 phases. By the time I defeat the boss, I feel like a real hero. And very few final bosses ever made me feel that way. So here's a quick overview of what the boss fight is all about. First off, the mask itself gets his minions to beat the crap out of you. And must I point out that most of the masks just straight up shoot lasers at Link. And all you have to do is focus on shooting Majora with arrows, so it falls on the ground, giving you time to attack. Then, the mask does a little swifter sweeper, and the fight proceeds. The next phase is a pretty silly one. Basically, the mask grows legs, and is now an athlete. How did this happen, you ask? Well, your guess is as good as mine. Although this phase is pretty silly, it's also a pretty tough one, since you have to shoot him down to make him do the best Wendy O. Koopa impersonation you will ever see. Oh yeah, and must I mention that he can shoot you from literally anywhere in the room, so that's no help. Also, he just loves to start dancing, so apparently he knows how to Russian dance, run dance, and even do the famous Michael Jackson moonwalk. The next and final phase is honestly the hardest phase. Basically, Majora becomes buff all of a sudden, grows an eye, and abuses Link by whipping him from anywhere in the room. Defeating Majora in this phase is no easy task, as you can see. When you shoot him, or her, or it, whatever it is now, you only get like 3 seconds to go up to it and attack it, or else you have to get ready for another butt whooping. Literally, this boss is really tough, and as I said earlier, this is one of the few final bosses that have ever made me feel like I really saved the world. Or this place. This is why Majora will always be the #1 boss in this game. Thank you for watching my video. Feel free to leave comments. I love reading them after all. And if you want to follow me on Twitter and DeviantArt, then links will be in the description. Also, shoutouts to the bro Cam Meekins on his new music video Cool. I assure you, this song is a real cool one. Give it a listen by clicking here. I'm sure you would love it. Also, if you want to see my top 5 new Super Mario Bros. Wii Worlds, then click here. Well, that's it. This is Deku Gamer, and I will see you guys next time.